Okay, so set of simultaneous equations that m and n are non-zero constants, so m and n can't be zero, have a unique solution. Mx plus 2y equals 5. Okay, so first you want to go into your calculator, menu, algebra, solve system of equations, solve for x and y, m times x plus 2y equals 5. And then for nx plus y equals m. For nx, you got to put a times in between, x plus y equals m. Enter. Okay, so if you're going to have a unique solution, we only want to get one answer. So that has to have one answer. So here we can get multiple solutions depending on the value of m and n, but this has to have one solution. So 2m minus 5 is 0. So m will equal 5 on 2. So when m's 5 on 2, that's going to equal 0. So we're going to get one solution. N can't equal 8m. Well, we know n can't equal 8m, but that's not going to give you a unique solution. So it's m is 5 on 2. Okay, we've got a quadratic, only has one solution. That's when the discriminant is equal to 0. So the discriminant is that squared minus 4 times a times c. So a squared minus 16 is 0. A squared is 16. A is plus or minus 4. So if a is plus or minus 4, that's only going to have one answer. The turning point of the quadratic is located. Okay, so to use your CAS on this one, x squared plus 4ax plus 1. Menu, algebra, complete the square. X squared minus 4a times x plus 1, comma x. So that's turning point form. X minus 2a squared plus 1 minus 4a squared. So that's your x value, and that's your, hang on, did I write it out wrong? Plus 4ax. I wrote it, that's supposed to be a plus. Okay, so that's a plus, so we get negative 2a, and then 1 minus 4a squared is our turning point. So our answer is A. Okay, that's turning point form. So if we complete the square, we're going to get that and that. Anyway, so 4x squared minus x minus 1 on 16. 4x squared minus x plus 1 on 16. Four x minus 1 on 8 squared. So 4, a is 4, x minus 1 on 8. The distance between the y-intercept, so y-intercept is going to be 0, 1. And the turning point, x squared plus 2bx plus 1. I like using this. X squared plus 2b times x. Oops. Was it minus 1? Plus 1. It's easier for you because you'll have the sheet and the calculator. Okay, x plus b. Minus b squared. So the other point is negative b, and then the y value is 1 minus b squared. So we need to find the distance between those points. y2 minus y1. So 1 minus b squared minus 1, that minus that, plus that minus that, squared. They're going to cancel, so we get minus b squared squared, which is b to the 4. B squared, that's the same as b squared plus 1. And if we square root b squared, we just get b root b squared minus 1. You could do it in your calculator, just the square root of 1 minus b squared minus 1 squared plus minus b minus 0 all squared. So that mod b, you don't have to worry about. The assumption is b is greater than 0, so that's the one that looks the same. That's how you're supposed to know. A minus b squared plus a minus a plus b squared. So fraction a minus b squared minus a plus b squared over a minus b squared minus a squared. A minus b squared minus a squared. 4a on 2a minus b. Okay, which of the following is not true for that function? That's painful. Okay, 0.8 x to the 4. 0.8 x to the power of 4. Was it minus 2.1 x cubed? Oh, you stupid thing. This is why I hate this calculator. Minus 2.1 x cubed plus 4.1 x squared minus x minus 6.2. I'm going to store it in f of x. And then go menu, add a graph, sketch f of x. Okay, so it's got 2x intercepts. What does the question ask? That's true, because if you sub-zero and you get negative 6.2. cuts the x-axis at 2 points, that's true. The graph has only one turning point, that's true. A maximum, that's not true. It doesn't have a maximum at 0.135. It's probably got a minimum there. So analyze graph. Minimum? Yeah, it's got a minimum there, not a maximum. So that's not right. Okay, the remainder. So you can let that equal that, given x equals 4. It's actually much easier for me just to do it by hand. 64 plus 16n plus 16 plus 5. So all I'm doing is subbing 4 into this. Is equal to 53. 16n, 85. 53, negative 32, n's negative 2. Okay, the rule for the graph shown is, you could just sketch all these if you wanted to. We know it's going to the left, so it's got to be a negative x, so it can't be that. Can be any of those. Its starting point is 1 across and 2 up. So it's got to be root negative x plus 2, because it's been moved 2 up, 1 across, 1 minus root 1 minus x, that moves it 1 to the right, because if we say 1 minus x equals 0, x equals 1. So it's either B or C. If you let x equal 0 here, you get 1 plus 2, which is 3, but clearly it goes through 4. So it's got to be 2 times 1 plus 2 is 4. Okay, the inverse of this graph. So if we were to just do a quick sketch, vertical asymptote at x equals 3, horizontal asymptote at y equals 2. We know it's negative, so it's going to be like that, and it would be like that, but it's only the left-hand side of the graph. So we know the range of this is negative infinity to 2. So it's going to be one of these two answers. And if you let y equal f of x, swap x and y, you get x as negative 1 on y minus 3 squared plus 2. Bring the 2 to the other side first. Negative 1 on, actually, this is negative, bring it to the other side and make it positive. So 1 on y minus 3 squared is equal to 2 minus x. We can switch these two. Y minus 3 squared is 1 on 2 minus x. Square root that. Y minus 3 is plus or minus 1 on root 2 minus x. Bring the 3 to the other side. So we get 3 plus or minus. So it's one of these two. It's got to be that one because that's the 1 on 1. So it's D. Okay, a rectangular piece of cardboard has dimensions x by 2x. So x, 2x, x, 2x. 4 squares of area 8 centimeters squared each. So 8 centimeters squared. Same, same, same. Write an equation in terms of x for the area of the non-colored, so this white section. Okay, so the total area is 2x squared, x times 2x, and then we've got a minus 4 times 8, minus 32. The area of the non-colored section of cardboard is equal to the area of the colored section of the cardboard. Okay, so this is the non-colored section. That's equal to the colored section. That section, that section. Show that x is that. So 2x squared is equal to 64. X squared is equal to 32. X squared is x is plus or minus root 32. We know root 32 is 16 times 2, which is 4 root 2. And we say as x, we say x has to be greater than 0. Therefore, x equals 4 root 2. The coloured section of the corners are cut out from the shape below. Find the perimeter of the shape in terms of x. Well, if that was x, this bit here is the same as that bit there. That bit there is the same as that bit there. That bit there is the same as that bit there. So it's still the perimeter is 2x plus 2x plus x plus x. Perimeter is 6x. Cardboard was folded along with dotted out lines to make a rectangular box. Write an expression for the volume of the box in terms of x. Okay, so if that has an area of 8, the sides must be root 8 times root 8. So that length there is 2 root 2. That one's 2 root 2. That's 2 root 2. So this length here is x minus 2 root 2 and 2 root 2, x minus 4 root 2. This one here is 2x minus 4 root 2, because that whole length is 2x. We've got to take away 2 root 2, take away 2 root 2. And then the height of the box is 2 root 2. So our volume is x minus 4 root 2 times 2x minus 4 root 2 times 2 root 2, the height of the box. Now it says to give it an expanded form, so let's just do that in the CAS. So x minus 2 root 2, 2x, oh, far out, stupid bloody thing. And it's 4 root 2 anyway, I think. So 2x minus 4 root 2 times 2 root 2. Oh, Jesus, what is that? Oh. So there's an x there. I'm like, there should be a squared term. 4 root 2x squared minus 48x plus, was it 64 root 2? Determine the value of x for which this volume of the box is. Okay, so we just let v equal 40. So we just got that formula. We want to solve, because we want an x value, when that formula equals 40. We want to solve for x, and because it's a decimal answer, we push Control Enter. So 1.23 or 7.25. X equals 1.23, 7.25. However, it doesn't make sense. X has to be less than 4 root 2. Because if you had 4 root 2 minus 4 root 2, you'd get a side length of 0. So we know it's got to be less than 4 root 2. Because if it's greater than 4 root 2, oh, hang on a sec. No, x has to be greater than 4 root 2. So x is 7.25 centimeters. It's got to be greater than it, because if it was 1.25, if you subtract something 4 root 2, you get a negative, and you can't have a negative side length. Okay, consider that quadratic equation. State the values that has no x-intercepts. So the discriminant is less than 0 for no x-intercepts. So b squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is c minus 2. That has to be less than 0. So you could just solve that in your CAS. Menu 3, 1. 16 minus 4 times c minus 2 has to be less than 0, comma, c. C has to be greater than 6. So if we solve this, we get 16 minus 4c plus 8 is less than 0. Bring that to the other side, negative 24. When we divide by a negative, we flip the inequality, so it makes sense that c is greater than 6. Find the distance between the stationary point of f of x. So we need to find the turning point of that. And the origin is 2 root 5. So, algebra, complete the square, x squared plus 4x plus c minus 2, comma, x. Okay, so negative 2, c minus 6. 0, 0, negative 2, c minus 6. So we know the distance is the square root of y2 minus y1, c minus 6 squared, plus minus 2 squared, and that has to equal 2 root 5. And then we solve for c. So menu 3, 1, square root, c minus 6 squared, plus negative 2 squared, equals 2 root 5, comma, c. C is 2 or 10. That's why it says values, because there's more than one. That's why that says values, because there's a range of values. Okay, for c to e, c is equal to 4. So that would be x squared plus 4x plus 2. So f of x is x squared plus 4x plus 2. Sketch that graph. So, graphs, x squared plus 4x plus 2. Menu, analyze graph, minimum. Okay, minus 2, minus 2. Alright. Because it says sketch, it doesn't actually say like how accurate you need it to be. So that's minus 2, minus 2. It's got to go through 2. So it's got to look something like that. but it doesn't actually say to give it intercepts or anything. Okay, consider mx plus 2. Determine the values of m such that g of x passes through the stationary point. Okay, so x equals -2, y equals -2. So we get -2 is equal to -2m plus 2. So all I did was sub y equals -2, x is -2. If we bring the 2 to the other side, we get -4 is equal to -2m. So m is equal to 2. So if we say 2x plus 2, go up here and have a look. Go down, 2x plus 2. You can see that goes through that stationary point. Find the coordinates of the other point of intersection of f of x and g of x. Well, it's pretty clear. 0, 2. So I would just say hang on. What? Like, this is stupid because it says find the coordinates of the other point of intersection point of that and that. That must be assuming that m is equal to 2. Because if it's equal to m, there could be so many different, because that graph can move up and down. So there's so many points of intersection. So they must be referring to when m equals 2. So the other point, if we let m equal 2, we get 2x plus 2 is equal to x squared plus 4x plus 2. Therefore, other point is 0, 2. We know because of the graph. Okay, our last question. Consider that function, state the values of f of 2 and f of 2.5, hence explain why the x-intercept. So f of 2 is 4 minus 2 minus 3. 4 minus 2 is 2, minus 3 is -1. F of 5 on 2, 2.5, is 25 on 4, minus 5 on 2, which is 10 on 4, minus 12 on 4. So we end up with 3 on 4. So as f of 2 is negative and f of 2.5 is positive, the graph must pass through the x-axis between them. X equals 2 and x equals 2.5. Okay, using the interval as a user bisection method, okay, to calculate it to 1 decimal place. So 2 to 2.5, the midpoint is 2.25, and then the y value of that. Okay, so x squared minus x minus 3. x squared minus x minus 3. Store that in f of x. If we solve that equal to 0, we get 1.30, 2.30278. 2.30278. So we need to get 2.30. Okay. So y f of 2.25 is negative 0.1875. So because it's negative, we replace the side that gives us a negative value. So our interval is now 2.25 to 2.5. So the midpoint is 2.5 plus 2.25 divided by 2. This is why I hate this calculator. So 2.375. F of 2.375 F of my last answer as a decimal points 2656. So now our interval, because that's positive, we replace the right end point, so 2.25 to 2.375. So add them together, divide them by 2. .3125. And then f of that value 0.035156. Okay, so now because it's positive, we replace the right end point, so 2.25 to 2.3125. Same thing, add them together. And which one was I replacing? Because it's positive, we replace the right end point. So 2.375. 2.28125. And then f of negative 0.077148. So now we replace the left end point, so 2.28125, 2.3125. Oh my God, what a waste of time this is. Okay. So here we replace that with 2.28125. 2.29688. f of that negative 0.02124. Okay, because it's negative, we replace the left endpoint, so 2.29688 to 2.3125. $2.30469. So that's correct to 2 decimal places. Because, when we sub it in, we get basically 0. So 0.006906. And then we say here, because that's the actual answer, we know x equals 2.30 to 2 decimal places. Now here, because that was positive, if we replace the 2.3125 with we get 2.30079. So because that's repeated, we know that's our answer. Okay, well that was painful. Hopefully this helps.